Champion Vakras had never been struck in combat. Not once. In 347 sanctioned matches across 17 years, his record remained perfect and unmarked. He was faster than Kelvin predators, stronger than Thorian bulls, and more skilled than any warrior in the Galactic Combat Federation. Then Lieutenant Jade Erickson stepped into the ring. The arena, packed with 50,000 spectators, expected a show. Vakras was 2.4 meters of muscle and armored hide. Jade was 1.7 meters of human wrapped in standard combat gear. The oddsmakers gave her a survival time of 47 seconds. "Human," Vakras said, his voice resonating through translator nodes. "You should forfeit. I am undefeated. I have never been touched in combat. Spare yourself the humiliation." Jade looked up at him with eyes that showed absolutely no fear or awe. "You have never been touched in sport combat. There is a difference. Combat is combat," Vakras said dismissively. "No," Jade replied quietly. "Combat is survival. Sport is entertainment. You have been performing. I have been fighting. We are about to learn which matters more." The referee, a neutral Velkan official, moved to the center. "This match follows standard Federation rules. Contact begins on my signal. Fighters ready." Vakras raised his primary combat arms, adopting the classical Thorian stance that had served him through hundreds of victories. Perfect form, textbook positioning. Jade simply stood, facing him. "No stance, unusual strategy," Vakras observed. "Or perhaps you have frozen with fear." "I am waiting," Jade said, "for you to stop talking and start fighting." The referee activated the combat field. "Begin." What happened next would be analyzed frame by frame for years. Vakras moved with the speed that had made him champion. His strike aimed at the human center mass with force that could shatter reinforced alloy. He never completed the motion. Strike 1. Jade's open palm caught his lead wrist mid-swing, redirecting his momentum. Strike 2. Her elbow drove into his exposed ribs before his combat instincts registered the counter. Strike 3. A knee to his midsection folded him forward. Strike 4. The back of her fist struck his temple as he bent. Strike 5. A hammer fist to his spine dropped him to his knees. Total elapsed time, 1.3 seconds. The crowd sat in absolute silence. Vakras knelt on the mat, his nervous system trying to process what had occurred. He had felt impacts, multiple impacts, but his mind could not track the sequence. One moment he was attacking. The next he was on his knees and his body hurt in 5 different places. "What happened?" he asked, genuinely confused. "I hit you 5 times, Jade said, standing exactly where she had started. "You were too busy executing perfect form to notice." The referee stared at his combat scanner, reading data that contradicted everything he knew about interspecies combat. Champion Vakras has sustained 5 confirmed strikes. Structural damage is minimal, but neural disruption is significant. Does the champion wish to continue? Vakras forced himself to stand. His pride would not allow surrender. "I was not prepared. I will not underestimate you again." "That is your mistake," Jade said. "You think I want you prepared. I want you vulnerable." Big difference. Vakras attacked again, this time with full commitment and none of the showmanship that characterized his usual fighting style. The result was identical. 7 strikes this time, all landing before his offensive motion completed. Jade moved through angles he did not know existed, hitting points on his anatomy that sport combat never targeted because they were too effective, too dangerous, too real. He hit the mat again. Harder this time. "You do not fight," he gasped. "You attack. There is no honor in this." "You are correct," Jade said, and for the first time her voice carried emotion. "Something cold. I do not fight. I neutralize threats as efficiently as possible. Honor is what warriors with time to spare discuss. I am a soldier who has faced enemies that actually wanted to kill me. not perform for audiences. Every technique I use is designed for one purpose: to stop someone from hurting me or others as quickly as physically possible." She gestured around the arena. "You have spent 17 years perfecting your sport. I've spent 12 years surviving combat where losing meant death. You learned to score points. I learned to end fights before they develop. You practiced for judges. My practiced for staying alive." Valkyris tried to stand, but his legs would not obey. How are you this fast?" "I am not faster than you," Jade said. "My reaction time is actually slower by about 30 milliseconds, but I do not react. I act. You wait to see what your opponent does and then respond with perfect form. I decide what I am going to do before the match starts and execute immediately. You defend and counter. I just attack. By the time you process that fighting has begun, I have already hit you 3 times. The referee moved forward. Champion Valkyris is unable to continue. Victor, Lieutenant Erickson by technical knockout. The crowd erupted. Not in celebration, but in shock. The undefeated champion had been defeated without landing a single blow. Jade extended her hand to help Valkyris up. "You are an incredible athlete. The best I have ever seen in sport combat. But you asked me to fight. That is different." Valkyris took her hand, using it to rise. "What is the difference?" "Athletes train to win," Jade said. "Soldiers train to survive. You have been competing. Humans have been at war with something somewhere for our entire history. We do not practice combat for entertainment. We practice because our species has needed to kill things that wanted to kill us for millions of years. That leaves a mark." She released his hand. "You were never hit because no one you faced was actually trying to hurt you. They were trying to score points, claim victory, earn glory. I was trying to end the fight before you knew it started, because that is how actual combat works. The person who strikes first and keeps striking usually wins." Valkyris looked at this small human who had dismantled him so completely. "We should train together. I want to learn what you know." "No," Jade said gently. "You should teach sport combat. You are brilliant at it. I should teach survival combat. That is what I am good at. They are different skills, both valuable. But do not confuse them." She walked toward the exit, and champion. "You can tell people someone finally hit you. 5 times in 1 second. That is nothing to be ashamed of. That is just reality meeting sport." Valkyris watched her leave. The undefeated champion who learned defeat taught him more than 300 victories ever had. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more epic tales.